business. I heard Robert Kiyosaki say once that business shouldn't be something that is like Groundhog Day, right? That we're not hamsters on the wheel. That part of being a business is being in practice, where we show up with continual improvement, and that's what I want to talk about today. Is how do we create that continuous improvement within our business each and every day? And this is the philosophy behind Kaizen. So it's continuous improvement. And what does it mean? Well, what Kaizen means is around making change for good, right? So another way to put it is continual improvement. Now, why this is important is we ran a couple of these within our business, and in a flat market we were able to double our business. I think we were doing about $10 million a month when we did our first one, and within a 12-month period we were able to double that and go to $20 million a month. And then in the subsequent years, as our volumes grew, we actually did some other Kaizen events. And right now I run a couple of Kaizen events for different clients, and the results they get are amazing. And there's no way for me to really learn and uncover what's working and not working in their business than to do a Kaizen event. So as I mentioned, it's change for good. And I want to talk to you about the process today in terms of how we go about making the change for good. So, and why do we need to do this, right? So why do we need to do this is because you can't scale without a system. Anything that we do on a repeated basis, we need a system for. I love this analogy where you've got the IKEA and we've all put flat packs together. But one of the things I always ask is, how would you go if you didn't have the instruction manual for the IKEA? You may get it together, but it's going to take you a hell of a lot longer, right? So, these are put together in a step-by-step to eliminate any waste and help you to get it together as quickly as possible. And so when we're looking at a Kaizen event, which is obviously change for good, the end result is creating that really good system. And, if we look at the question in terms of, well, why do you want to create that? And, it's easy when you're starting to look and when you're starting to map out the processes within your business. It's easy to look at, well, why do you want it? And obviously there's some obvious reasons. If we can halve our time in the process, we can double our business. We can create efficiencies. Rather than somebody doing something different, and let's say we had multiple brokers in your team, if they're all doing something different, each of the client is getting a different client experience. So in terms of, you need to define your why, and why is it for you that you want to obviously run this Kaizen event. Maybe, again, you feel like you're not delivering that consistent service. Maybe you want to up that level of service to get more referral business. Maybe you want to make the process easier for your clients. So this is a big part of looking in terms of why, but ultimately comes down to that sort of methodology that you want to get everyone rowing in the same direction, and you want to make the boat go as fast as it possibly can and provide that predictable and repeatable performance in your business. Now, why would you want that? Because what you want to create is you want to create a strategic advantage. Right? You want to create a strategic advantage. And I love this quote that says, "The expert in battle seeks his victory from strategic advantage and does not demand it from his men." Now, I've seen many mortgages businesses fail where they have a really good staff member or several really good staff members, and they've developed the process, right? Maybe they've hired someone experienced where they started to help. And what happens when that person leaves, right? Their strategic advantage or their system walks out the door with that person because a lot of the processes haven't been documented. So by sort of really creating that system and process and giving you that real strategic advantage where you take the time to step back and really map out your process, it's going to give you a strategic advantage. And if you run your business like a practice where you show up and each and every day you've got that Kaizen mentality, which is around changing for good, it's going to make a massive difference within your business. Now, I'm going to run you through the process. And again, if you want a copy of this document, just chuck an emoji in the chat below for us and I'll make sure that I get you something across. If you're interested in working with me in terms of to help you and really map out the process, also reach out, make a comment below or DM me. I'd be more than happy because, as I said, out of all the things that I did in my business, this was the one thing that was a real sort of game changer. So I'm going to run you through the process that we take in terms of going through a Kaizen process. So the first thing is to really define the problem, right? So we want to define the problem. So there's two things that we want to define. So it's the problem, but also what are the customer needs? What is that customer needs? And before we did this, part of the process was to go through our customer value proposition and really nail, okay, we're going to go through a Kaizen event and we're really going to go through this process, but we really want to define why. And a lot of it comes back to, okay, what are the problem and what are the customer needs within the business? So it's a great place to start, right? So then once we've defined the problem, we need to have a way to actually measure it. All right, so, and this is what we do when we sort of spend a day and we take the whole team out of the office and we'll actually go through and we'll map out your process. And what we do when we map out your process, we have a method that identifies the areas of waste. And I'll talk a little bit about the areas of waste when we go in to a little bit deeper into the process. So we measure that and we map out the process. So then what that will allow us to do is to come up with a series of areas where each step of the process isn't particularly working, and it's quite a big day because you're focusing on all the negatives, you're focusing all the issues in terms of what isn't working in the process, and really being able to take a step back and take that helicopter view is great. So once we've measured, then it comes time for the analysis, right? It comes time for the analysis. And in terms of when we do the analysis, what we do is we investigate the themes. Right? So we investigate the themes. And to give you an example, when we mapped out our process the first time, where we thought we had an issue, which was in the loan tracking between submission and approval. And Alison, our staff member at the time, was getting smashed and her workload was quite big. But when we sort of got to the root cause and we really sort of did the analysis and we identified the root cause, we found out that, hey, the problem wasn't in that area of tracking. It was actually up the front in our document collection process. And once we'd fixed that process, our process ran a whole lot smoother. So then once we do the analysis and we identify the themes and we get to the root cause, the next thing that we need to do is we need to look to improve the process, right? So we need to improve the process. So, and this involves coming up with some fixes, right? What are the things that we're going to do to actually fix our process, and what are going to be the solutions? We have a thing that we go through here in terms of where we do a pick matrix and come up with the things that are easy to implement within the business. So this is just the part of it, right? So this is the day where you sort of spend the day out of the office and we come up with this. What comes next is the most important thing, right? Because, without implementation into the business, and one of the great things about involving your whole team in this process is 80% of the improvement is not going to come from you as the business owner. It's going to come from your team. So the aim here is, well, how can we actually sustain the momentum that we've created in terms of, doing all of this? And then how can we manage that sort of moving forward so we can ensure that, hey, we can double our business, we can halve our time in the process, we can create this strategic advantage. So that is an overview of what we do within the process. And again, if you want a copy of this document, put your emoji below, or if you want to talk about, how I can help and how I can assist and implement something like this in your business, either comment below or send me a direct message. I'll get in touch and we'll have a conversation. Because if we look at it and we look at the different areas of waste, and these are some of the things that we sort of really identify. And if we look at some of the things in our business in terms of, you look at the delays, right? And look at delays that are common, waiting on hold, waiting for a client to arrive, delays in looking for documents, who's done a serviceability calculator more than once, right? So it's replication of tasks. We look at processing. It might be, you don't have email rules set up. There's no, there's not asking for all the required documents at a certain time, over processing a C-grade file, unnecessary motion, maybe, searching for an email or searching for a document or delivering clients' documents to their home, unclear communication, obviously around product selection, fees and charges, just not spending the proper time to uncover all their needs in the sales process, right? Errors is pretty self-explanatory. Obviously, the most underutilized talent, guess who that normally is? This normally starts at the top, but recently I've seen it could be your really experienced staff members are not taking as much responsibility as they potentially can, and sort of you're taking control and not handing over. And this is by looking at this and by looking at somebody, and again, the comments from my clients who I did this with is, it's really great, Ross, to have somebody like you who's run a business for so many years and obviously built $1 billion loan book yourself, to be able to have that facilitator and give your ideas in terms of what that potential future process can look like once we really map it out. And then we look at, okay, well, what is that extra time in the process, or you being stuck in certain parts of the process? What are the opportunities that we are losing? So this comes from Lean or Six Sigma. Toyota were big in the Kaizen way. Read some books in terms of that. And a lot of people think, oh, Ross, you've done this a number of times. Why can't you just pick up a process that's working and put it in our business? And, Yeah, the answer is that there's so many nuances between everyone's business in terms of the strengths and weaknesses amongst the team, amongst the owners, and so even within a company like Toyota, you'd think they'd have standard processes for each department. No, it's not like that. It is something that is individual to you and your business. So you can't shortcut the process and grab somebody else's process. It's something that really needs to be mapped out for you and for your own process. So in terms of, just finishing up, that is the sort of the overview of the process. This is what we do, and how we finish this is we really will define what you want that future, and this future may take 12 months, and that's why sort of coaching and looking at what that ongoing, and again the practice that we're showing up, and we're really embodying this Kaizen mentality into our business to ensure that we get the success that we want and the success that we desire, and that we have that strategic advantage in our business. So again, comment below if this is something you're interested in. Put an emoji in the chat below. If you're interested in having a Kaizen event and me facilitating it, reach out for a DM, and we can have a chat about how we can potentially help you with that. So thanks again, and I look forward to sharing some more insights. I'm Ross, the founder of the $1 Billion Broker, and it's been my pleasure. I'll talk to you soon.